Hello, beautiful souls. So, welcome to the first day of a 2-week challenge, Fearless as Fuck. And the reason that I put a dollar sign in there is because right at this moment, people are really, really worried about their security. And so I thought I would just pop that dollar sign in there so that we could look at the fear around money. So just take a moment, and the sun's going down, so it's going to be fluctuating behind me, and so it's just lovely and radiant back there as we talk about the gold and the fear around money and what exactly is fear anyway. So what I believe, let me just get my fan, there you go. So fear, we all have it. Every single solitary one of us feels fear at least once a day, for sure, and many other times of the day as well. So when we can define it for ourselves, when we can look at it, then we actually have control over it. I recently read something that resonated with me. Hey, Lorraine. Hi, Norma Jean. Hey, Meg. And it was that which you don't have control over has control over you. So we've all been taught about fear. Earlier today on the drumming, I was saying that by the time you're 5 years old, you have already heard the word no 65,000 times. 65,000 times by the time you're 5. How do we find yes? How do we ever come to yes? Well, we do it because there's a desire bigger than your fear. So when your desire overcomes your fear is when you start taking action. So I'm going to give you some interrupts. Hey, Shelley, good to see you. I'm going to give you some interrupts here and some definitions and some ways to move around this. So fear is one of the most crippling emotions you face. It just stops you dead in your tracks. And and sometimes you just don't want to face it anymore. You know, we've been facing fear. You've heard me say this. If you hear me drumming, hear me saying this all the time. Right here, this is my calendar behind me. Right here is spring equinox. And 2 years ago on spring equinox, I started drumming, or just right down here now. And it was to raise the vibe to love and above, because fear is a low frequency. And when you're in that, and when you're being inundated with that, and if you don't have protection and you don't know how to do that, energetically, you're going to feel that. So the fear causes what it causes is I call it a psychoceramic. But what it is a psychosomatic. But when you use words that aren't quite the right words, but people get the information, it takes the power out of them. So tonight I'm going to talk to you about the power of your own words and also the power of your thoughts. We speak things into creation all of the time. And when we take a moment and just get calm and sit in whatever we're feeling, then we are at choice point. But before that, before we're at that choice point, before we've taken, even if it's just enough time to have an in-breath and an out-breath, you've already made a decision and you're already in action, but you might not have all the information. So some of you might not know who I am, so I'm going to introduce myself. So Shamanweaver Sheila Baker here. Right out of high school, I trained as a nurse, and I knew that that wasn't the right thing because I'm an empath and I could feel what everyone was feeling. So soon I became a dance movement therapist because the body holds on to memories. And when you put the body, when we move, things bubble up, right? And when we smell things, things bubble up. When we see things. So when you use movement and dance to heal yourself, then it energetically changes that. So part of my shamanic work involves movement as well. So I want to talk to you about why you respond, why the body responds even before the mind can. When we see something, we immediately respond to that. Well, actually, we don't respond, we react. So we react to it, and sometimes we react to it as if it's something else. So you have a reptilian part of your brain. It's been found, science, and so it lives right back there. If you can all just feel back into that divot there, that it lives just right above there. And it is part of your brain, so it's not like it's a real different part of your brain and a little reptile is living up there. But it is the most ancient part of your brain. And the most ancient part of your brain is primitive. So it has knee-jerk responses. It sees and responds. Well, it sees and reacts, really. The response comes when you engage your mind, engage your thinking in it. So you have the ability to tame your reptilian brain. And there's a podcast that I did on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. So you can go over there and check that out. And Lorraine, if you happen to have that available, you could just pop that in. Because when we train ourselves to respond differently to a stimulus, and if it isn't a bear or a bus, then you can take a moment and go, oh, wait, I'm at choice now. You've been trained to react in fear to all kinds of things. We hear things on the news and our bodies and our mind react in fear. We contract in. And this training that we've had, hi Tina, this training that we've had for all of our lives, it's now time for us to retrain ourselves, to look at fear as an option. As an option. It's not like oxygen. You do not need fear to live your life. So, fear is crippling. It causes an automatic body response. So let me tell you a little thing about that automatic body response. That automatic body response is very, very similar to the response to excitement. Your heart beats faster, you get flushed, your palms get sweaty, you're kind of nervous. Same thing happens when you get excited. So just imagine when something happens, usually it's shocking and usually it's spontaneous and instantaneous. And you just train yourself, bear, bus, and if it's neither of those, then you can take a breath. And in that taking a breath, you can assess, do I need to be afraid? Yeah, am I going to be eaten or run over? If neither of those are true, neither of those are true, you're not going to be eaten, you're not going to be killed, then you get to just take a moment and a breath and decide, How it is, are you going to respond to that? Are you going to go, oh, I'm going to go into my usual panic and like get all nervous and run around and, make chaos in my body? Or am I going to take this moment to go, very similar body responses. Why don't I choose excitement? Why don't I choose excitement? In that process of taking that breath, go ahead and take 3 breaths. But in that process, you've done an automatic interrupt. You've done this wonderful thing where you haven't automatically responded. You've gone, oh, okay, give me a moment. And what we all know, what we focus on expands, right? Whether it is real or whether it is imagined. This is the great kind of confusing thing about the brain. The brain doesn't know the difference. If I'm watching something and it's engaging and I start to get involved, the brain doesn't know the difference between me watching and getting involved and me actually doing it. That's why visualization works so well. That's why, if I used to do this little trick, I'll tell you one of my tricks. So my trick was at night, I get ready to climb into bed and I would visualize myself running and doing jumping jacks and then running and doing jumping jacks again. I had to tell myself, only do this for an hour. Or the next morning I would get out of bed and my legs would be sore, my arms would be sore. I would be like, what is up with this? And then I remembered, oh, I forgot to say, only do this for an hour. So visualize yourself, visualizing yourself doing something is effective. Now, I can't quote the stats, but they did a control group who did nothing. They did a group over here who exercised. They did one group who visualized, another group who visualized and exercised. So these two groups, this group, visualization and the doing, did better than just the exercising. The visualization did comparable to the visualization and the doing. So let's pretend that we all have broken legs and we can't get out and go for a walk. You can visualize yourself doing that. And when you put that focus of attention and energy on that, we used to do that in the olden days when I was a student nurse. We would get our patients to visualize moving their legs up and down and doing other things, and it works. So this fear that we have, that we all carry, and it's useful. And the way that it's useful is you can use it as a tool. So let me just get to my neck. I actually have notes, look. Okay. Oh, yeah. So I went for a beach walk with a friend just a few minutes ago. And we were talking about how difficult it is for people to change. And how we stay stuck because of fear. And so I was saying that, you were raised in a certain way, and now you're grown. You are at that choice point. Do I live in fear? Is this going to make me afraid, or is this going to make me excited to find out what's next? How can I overcome this? What can I do? And by doing a reptilian brain massage, the link is right there. By doing that, you begin to calm yourself down. Have you ever noticed that if your mind is running around with you and then you just go, wait, I'm going to make a cup of tea, or whatever it is that you do as your interrupt, that all of a sudden you can calm down. You can just put it to the side for a moment. So I'm going to give you a little exercise to do. Because we all have fears, but not all of our fears are exactly the same. And because there is power in writing things down. You know, you're visualizing and you're also writing them down. So you're going to write down your 5 biggest fears. You can have more, but if you're getting beyond the 5 biggest fears, make sure that you kind of highlight those. What are your 5 biggest fears? And once you write those down, remember I was talking about what you don't have control over has control over you? When you write those fears down, you can concretely see them in front of you, just like my notes. So you write your fears down. And once you've written them down, what it does is it gets your body involved. So your cells are now releasing, letting go of, dropping that fear because you've written it down. Because you have now got it sitting concretely in front of you. So one of the legacies that people want to leave are books, right? The written word. When people start thinking, when they get to a certain stage in their life, they start thinking about writing their memoirs. Because they want to leave a legacy. They want to leave something behind, right? So writing your fears down is a little bit like writing your legacy. Because what you're going to do is you're going to write them down. Now they're outside of you. Now they're outside of you. If you have a fear of being homeless and you write it down, part of you holding on to that fear, or maybe you have a fear of intimacy, or maybe you have there's tons, choose one. And maybe you have that fear. Once you write it down, all of a sudden, you then, because it's right here in front of you, you then have power over that fear. Because it's not in every cell of your body anymore. Remember, I don't know if this happened in your lifetime, and I never saw it happen, but there was stories about going up to the blackboard and writing things 50 times so that it ingrained it in you. So as you write this and as you put it outside of yourself, you can actually then, of course, obviously begin to see it. And then by doing this act of writing, and if you give yourself, so give these 2 weeks to yourself to really practice this, to imagine yourself being absolutely fearless. So that no matter what happened, no matter what was offered to you, because a lot of us shy away from things. We shy away from love. We shy away from stepping up and doing what we're really called to do because we refuse to receive. It's kind of backwards, isn't it? But we have a fear. We have a fear of taking. Maybe our fear is being greedy. Maybe our fear is, hey Raquel, nice to see you. Maybe our fear is that we're uncertain in certain circumstances, so we don't go there. Oh, I can't go there because I don't exactly know what's going to happen or who I'm going to see, so I'm going to just stay over here. So when you write that down, I have a fear of being in social situations. That's a lot of people have that. That's a big, big, big fear. It's, you know, it's not my favorite thing to do is to be in social situations. So once I write that down, then I can really look at it and it's outside of me. So I'm no longer embracing it. I'm in the process of erasing it, right? Transmuting it. This is what we're doing over these 2 weeks, is we're looking at fear. We're recognizing that in our bodies, it has a very, very similar response to excitement. I've told you if it's not a bear or a bus, then you're at choice point. You can put your hand on your heart. Hi, Susan. You can put your hand on your heart and take a breath. And then you can decide, am I going to respond in the old way? Am I going to respond knee-jerk and like this? Or am I going to take a moment and go, the response, physically, they're the same, pretty close. Am I going to go over here and am I going to not contract, but am I going to expand into the excitement of, wow, I wonder what I can create? So you get to, your assignment, if you choose, is to write down your 5 biggest fear. Get it out of your body. Get it out of your body. It's running around in there anyway. So write it down. Then you get to have a look at it. And you get to go, are you real? Or is this something that's been with me for decades? You know, if you've been watching me, you know that one of my favorite things to talk about is this responding out of something that happened when you were 4 years old. And you have this ingrained in you responding out of that because you're afraid that whatever happened then is not something that you can fix. Well, what if it isn't? What if it's not fixable? But what if you can move out of that fear into this potent place of writing that down and going, I can't fix it, I can't change it, but I can change my response, my behaviors around it. I'm not 4 anymore. Thank you. And I can change my behavior from fear that I'm never going to get that, whatever it was, because that's almost, you know, been a psychotherapist for like, wow, way too many years. But that's what underlying this is. It's our fear that we can't give ourselves whatever it was that we didn't get. But I want to tell you that you can. You can take care of yourself. You can give yourself whatever it was that you didn't get. I'm not talking about reparenting. I'm talking about loving on that, let's say 4-year-old. Let's say it was a lollipop. Let's make it really smooth and easy and benign. It was a lollipop. The lollipop got taken away. We react out of, oh, I can't have a lollipop for years and years and years. And these are just symbols, by the way. I'm not talking about a real lollipop, but something got taken away. Whether it was your innocence or whether it was, you know, a toy or whether it was a person. But when you stop and you concretely look at the fear, am I really not able to give myself that? Well, I think you're going to find that you might be the only one that can give yourself that. So don't let these old fears dictate your life. when something happens and you're called to react, respond in fear, then quick, smart, put your hand on your heart. This is the best grounding thing I have ever seen. Hand on your heart. Take a breath. Now, if it's a bear or a bus, get out of the road. But other than that, take a breath. And then decide, do I need to be afraid and contracted like this? Or can I use those feelings, the feelings of, ooh, I'm so nervous and flustered and sweaty, and can I turn it into excitement? Because what I'm betting, I like the 80-20 rule. So what I'm betting is 80% of the time, you can turn it into excitement. It might take a minute, but that is truly where we find freedom. It's truly where we come away from being in fear. It's when we're at choice. When we say, no, I'm deciding not to react like that. I'm going to react like this and expand into this. And right now is a beautiful time for us to be doing this challenge, because there is a lot of fear being drummed up right now. And if we respond to it, if we react to it, our bodies are going to suffer. We've already seen that. Not only that, but we're going to conjure up more things to be afraid of. So let's do this thing together. We're all pinky swearing. First of all, that you'll write down your 5 biggest fears. Because what you're going to do is you're going to give yourself a reward for doing that. Whenever you do something, give yourself a reward. It keeps you doing more things and more things and more things. And if you haven't already built in a reward system for yourself, then begin to do that. Maybe you take yourself to a movie. I mean, maybe you buy yourself some yummy tea that you haven't had before. Right? So here we go. Write down 5 big fears. Big fears. And then write down 10 rewards, 10 things that are possible for you to give to yourself. It's not about balancing them. It's about, these are my fears, and these are the rewards that I'm going to give myself for the next 2 weeks as I become fearless as fuck. Because once you understand the energy of fear, and that you can transmute it like that into excitement, you don't ever have to be afraid again. You don't ever have to be afraid again. Because you'll be able to put your hand on your chest. So everybody just go ahead and do that. Give yourself a little heart massage right there. You'll be able to take a breath, because it automatically makes you want to breathe. And you will be able to assess bus, bear, run. But you'll be able to assess and not just react. The slam on our adrenal glands from the stress is making everyone tired. So, train your brain, do the reptilian brain massage, write down 5 big fears, and then over here, 10 rewards that you're going to give yourself. And let me just show you the reptilian brain massage so that you'll just want to go over there and watch it so you can do it. It's relaxing. And when you're stressed and you do this, first of all, I don't know about you, but it gives me a giggle, because I'm massaging the back of my head and it actually calms me down. And I'm imagining that my little reptile is out there and I'm just doing this. It's okay. It's all right. Everything's going to be okay. Okay. So energize your hands by rubbing them together. And now we're just going to go up like this. Bend your elbows. Come right back in here. And now just rubbed in one direction. And then the other direction. Beautiful. Come down the sides of your neck. Pull it off. Ball it up into white light. And you have just done an alchemical shamanic process. You've turned tension and stress into white light. And look, now we're going to blow it back to source. Back it goes. So out of your body, your stress and your tension went white light because you said so. So this is the power of your words. So tonight, write quick smart after this, write down 5 of your biggest fears, 10 treats that you're going to give yourself. Watch the reptilian brain massage. Oh, can we do that again? Oh, heavens, yes, of course. Okay, here we go. Thank you. All right, energize your hands. Put your arms way up. Bend your elbows. See, they automatically go right there. Just part your hair back there. And you're going to rub in one direction. And then you're going to rub in the other direction. And you can just bring your hands down. Follow the bone that's right there. You can feel it. You can give that a little rub. Bring it down the sides. Get your hair out of the road. Bring it down the sides of your neck here. Right there. And then pull it off. Put your fingers together. Ball it up. White light. Back to source. So, Raquel, there's just above a few comments up. There is the click to the podcast that teaches you about that. So tonight, I'm just going to recap what we went over. We went over how fear and excitement are very physiologically similar in the body. How fear cripples you. And how when you can take a moment, if it's not a bear or a bus, you can put your hand on your heart. It's really these physical things that we do to make contact with our body, our temple, really ground us. So somebody comes up and they says, you know, you're going to get fired. And you're like, and so if you just like take a breath, and you know, but before, wait a minute, am I dying? Is someone going to eat me? Am I going to get run over? Or am I going to get eaten? No, neither of those. Hand on your chest. And then you get to be at choice point, taking that breath. So, you know, we're entering a time, a place where we're becoming more compassionate with one another, more kind to one another. It's difficult to be kind. Well, no, it's not. Isn't it easier to be kind to somebody else than it is to be kind to yourself? You know, I've been really mindful of the things I say to myself when I do something and it's not quite right. And I was like, oh yeah, that's great, eh? Or something like that. But in our minds, this itty bitty shitty committee is like poking at us. So be kind to yourself. Start with yourself, always. You know, if you were to go give a person on the street some money, give yourself some money and get yourself something nice so that you have that ability to like give freely because you are taking care of yourself. And when you learn these little tricks, like turning fear into excitement, for the rest of your life, you will not be able to not remember this. You know, you anchored it, hopefully, in your body by touching yourself. when we do this, the body remembers, oh, wait a minute, I get to choose. And the more times we make conscious choices, then the more we communicate in a way that is connected, is loving, is kind, and compassionate. So let's take these 2 weeks. It's tonight, and then it's going to be again on Thursday at 5 o'clock. And what I'm going to do is, tonight I gave you information and an assignment. I'm going to build on that on Tuesday, and we're going to look deeper into how to shape shift into being fearless, because it's in there. All of us are fearless. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. We would have caved long ago. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being willing to stretch yourself enough to think about something differently. Most of life just requires a different perspective. And most of it is a softer, more kind perspective. And most of it starts with you being kinder to yourself. So, no bears, no bus. Hand on your chest, hand on your heart, and then assess. Do I want to contract or do I want to expand? So thank you so much for being here. I'll see you on Thursday for the next installment as Fearless as Fuck. And invite your friends if they're not already enlightened spiritual warriors. Invite them to become enlightened spiritual warriors. You can do that. If this is useful for you, then share it with someone else, because right now the biggest thing that we can all do is we can all pinky swear to take care of ourselves. And then once that happens, the next thing that happens is you can help take care of the person next to you. So thank you very much, and I will see you. If you have questions, oh, wait a minute. Does anybody have any questions before I pop off? So if you do, pop them in the chat, and I will answer those. And if not, I'll just sip tea for a sec. It froze on you. Well, Raquel, that's because there's a podcast, and I think there's, and you know what? There's a video. So what I will do for you all is I will put the video into Enlightened Spiritual Warriors. And Shelley, you're welcome. So I'll put the video about the reptilian brain massage. I'll put it into the Facebook group for you. Okay. Anyone else got anything? Oh, thank you, Tina, for being here. All right, y'all, I am going to sign off. And my granddaughter said to me, Sheila, be fierce. So, love you, see you, and I'll see you on Thursday. Thank you so much. Let me know if you loved it. Bye.